So, Dan,
Hi.
we're standing really close together in the very lovely, luxurious backstage area of the Greatscape.
We are.
We've just come straight.
I can't
from-
actually focus on you. We're so
No,
close.
we're so
I'm
close.
a little alongside you, see.
That's good to know. So keep looking a bit harder.
Yeah. But
So
just
we-
keep looking up.
We've just come from the Vote for Music session where we talked about those results. So 4 issues that came through
Yeah.
in the vote. So music education, tax relief, funding for the grassroots music scene, and agent of change.
Yeah.
I'm going to put you on the spot and just get you to give me a little bit of response to whether it's a surprise to see those in there maybe, or...
It doesn't feel like a huge surprise because when you look at, say, the agent of change policy, that the press around venues, there was one in Bristol just recently.
Oh, the clothes.
The clothes.
Yeah,
I cannot remember what it's called.
No, I can't
Somewhere I've
remember.
played like 10 times, I
Yeah.
can't remember. But it made it in the echo chamber that is Twitter, it spread, and it is unfair that a venue get punished by a developer. You know, the story of Oxford Academy, they've had to spend millions on one person buying a house next door to them and then punishing for it. There was plans of like knocking down part of their building and rebuilding it, so there was a gap between the two buildings. I think they ended up having to buy the house off her for a greatly inflated price, which isn't fair. You know, if I bought my house next to sewage works, I then can't complain about the smell. You know, it's just it's kind of things like that are important, and they react to the music industry because humans are full of this thing called common sense, and you wouldn't go next to a slurry pit and be upset about it.
What about the tax issue, the tax relief, tax break issue that came through? We were talking about that earlier.
It's interesting. For me, I don't like it when people who already get a more flexible version of the tax system talk about tax breaks, because obviously when I was a vinyl buyer at HMV, I paid the same tax as everyone else. Now I'm a musician, a DJ. When I buy vinyl, that comes, because that's part of my job, that comes off my tax. But when I was a vinyl buyer at HMV, that was part of my job. So I'm always I'm grateful for the fact that the tax system for self-employed people is more generous. Not more generous, it's just more helpful. So, but when it comes down to it, there is the tax system doesn't help musicians when they're starting out. You know, and there was a point raised about maybe looking at taxing new musicians or new music ventures, whether that be a brand new venue or a new studio, instead of taxing them year on year, do it over 5 years, give them a chance to grow before we start pulling them apart. So that would definitely be a huge help. And VAT needs to just not exist, because it is the most ridiculous tax on working people. That's the only people it hurts. So you pay your VAT, and the company, it goes up to a company, and then they charge the VAT to someone else, and eventually it all comes back off the government. It doesn't make any sense as a tax. It's just a way of the government re-taxing your salary without, saying, well, this company paid this much VAT, which they claim back this amount, so.
And music education was in there as well. I don't know if you had a call for music to be back on the curriculum. What do you think about that?
Music education, music needs to be on the curriculum. The national curriculum, like secondary school curriculum, isn't actually the bit where I want to see it. I want to see music taught in infant schools. Like, give young people, very young people, infants in fact, the opportunity to fall in love with music. And then by the time they get to secondary school, they can opt in. As long as there's an option to do music, every school should have some form of music department. Like, giving people that passion early on, then it will come back onto the curriculum, because there'll be so much demand from people coming through when they're 11 going, no, I want to play. And to be honest, it might not just help the popular music industry, it might help the orchestral music industry, because it is an industry that is struggling so hard because it's such an expensive thing to do to put an orchestra together, yet it's not attractive to be, I don't want to grow up and be second cellist. But if you picked up a cello at 5 and fell in love with it, you'd be happy to be third string in the National Philharmonic. But, so education would help more than just on the money front. Diversity and excitement.
In the session, you gave a slightly tongue-in-cheek message to the government, but you were making a serious point about what you think people's reactions might be to the election this week.
My speech, to be honest, was me venting how I feel about everything I said in that speech. Even when I said that they're about abolishing maternity pay. That is something the Department of Work and Pensions have looked into, has been proposed, and it is this government asked someone to get angry about. So me, in that speech, I had to focus it on the music industry. So, and I genuinely believe in when you are, if you hate your government, if you're angry, we make better music, and it doesn't even have to be angry music. We just generally make better music when we're pissed off. So, but although it was tongue-in-cheek, the Tory government have a mandate to be a Tory government, and we've not seen one for 18 years, and they will curtail our rights. They will cut from the most vulnerable in society, and if that doesn't make you angry, and go out and do something, and whether that be do something political and fight for change, or whether that just makes you angry and pick up a guitar and actually use that to just use that to vent your anger, it's gonna make people do something, whether it's helpful or not. I'm genuinely excited about that.
Well, it's just important that people have a voice, isn't it? That's what our campaign is about, It's an era of disenfranchisement, isn't it, really?
Well, it's an era of disenfranchisement while we are convinced we have a voice. We're shown we have a voice via Twitter and all this. We have these places to output, but we're not. Twitter isn't something you're being able to express to society. You're expressing that to the echo chamber of the people you've chosen to follow and who have chosen to follow you. So you can express your left-wing view and get a lot of people go, oh yeah, no, I agree, yeah, brilliant, and feel like society is different to what it really is. There's 4 million people who aren't very positive towards immigrants, to be nice, and I genuinely believe that this country's great because of the immigrant population. Look, we talk about how amazing the British music scene is. That's because of the Africans and Jamaicans, and it's because of the diversity in our music scene. You listen to so much music that has come out of immigrant populations, that has, even if it's just effective, even if it's just a tone that's come from that and been applied to white working class music, it's still, I don't believe it would be so, the music scene would be so beautiful if we didn't invite everyone in. And that's all music as well. Like, we talk about it, like the reggae having an effect and all this, but you can't underestimate how much Eastern European techno's had on our dancing. Artists like Aphex Twin and all that, when you go back to Didgeridoo, that comes out of sweaty Berlin riot clubs and all that. So it's all good.
It's all good. That's a good message.
Yeah.
It's all good. We'll be fine.
It's all good.
Yeah. Thank you.
Cool.
Brilliant. Thanks so much.